Bazinga! We made it another month. Here's what we watched for the month of March.
We started off with The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
It's a little weird, but it's also not as great. I'll be honest, I don't love Yorgos's movies that much. I saw Poor Things in theaters and I liked it then. If I were to rewatch it now, I don't know if I'd feel the same way. I hated Kinds of Kindness, and Begonia was just dumb. It has a really weird concept. Couldn't get into it.
The performances by Farrell and Kidman are really good for being so monotone and kind of like every character is kind of a bit awkward and flat in this with their delivery. But as far as they go, I mean, they're seasoned. They do their best. Kyogen, though, I mean, his character kind of just is off-putting and not the way I think Lanthimos kind of wanted. To any normal person, to be a walking red flag.
Yeah.
His whole, revenge plot is interesting with the supernatural, element to it, but it just kind of, to me, it just doesn't stop the film from being really too slow and too ambiguous. I gave it, a 5 out of 10, I think.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. Then I watched The Dirties. This was the very first movie from Matt Johnson of Nirvana, the band, the show. It's interesting, but I didn't really care for it that much. It's about these two cinephiles who are filming a movie and they want to reenact a school shooting scene at a high school, and it's really, really, really weird. I do like how it's found footage. I do kind of like how Matt Johnson performs. I, again, just could not get into it at all. I haven't really checked out the other Matt Johnson movies. I do want to because I feel like I might like them more. But this one, I guess as a first feature film, it's a cool idea, I guess. But I gave it a 5 out of 10.
And I finally got around to watching If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This movie is so good, dude. I loved it so much. It definitely is experimental and not going to be for everyone, especially with how intense it can get. Rose Byrne, dude, she is a powerhouse of an actress in this. She portrays a single full-time working mom in the most vivid and just brutal way possible. This woman's life is a nightmare, and her husband, he is just not helpful at all. All the men in this, besides maybe Conan in some way, more helpful than the others, but he still just kind of barely, he doesn't really help very much. This movie does a very good job portraying just the difficulties of motherhood, just the stressors of having a chronically ill child, because it's one thing to have to raise a kid, but it's another thing if they need the type of medication and care that the daughter in this movie does. That being said, it's still an excellent film, and there was a really funny scene where I think a guinea pig or a hamster got ran over, and it made me laugh very hard. It was a very good movie. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Then I watched A History of Violence. This is a David Cronenberg movie that really does not feel like a Cronenberg movie, and I say that in, I guess, a good way. It's definitely different from what I've seen of him. I've only really seen Videodrome, The Fly, and Existence and all that. I know he's made Eastern Promises and some other more action crime related movies.
Yeah.
I also had no idea that this was based off of a DC comic until after the movie was over. Now that I know that, it does make a lot of sense. It's this guy who has a canon moment in his life where he beats up this mobster and then he becomes very famous. But for some reason these mobsters know him and refer to him as a different name because supposedly they were they work with them. He tries to pretend that never happened and all that just to save face for his family. The twist, of course, that he is part of it is very fucking obvious from the beginning. They wouldn't be bringing it up if it wasn't for that. And the way he performs it is just, I don't know, it's a little predictable. The ending is satisfying. Otherwise, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Then I saw A Town Called Panic. It is a French stop-motion movie, and I really, really like it. It's very quirky. It's very weird. It's about these, two, I don't even know what they are. They're little statues that you'd see on a lawn, I guess, and then a talking horse. The house gets destroyed, and these weird little creatures are stealing the parts from their new house that they're trying to build, and then they go on this weird adventure into caves and this underwater ocean area. It's very strange, and I love it a lot. It's very wacky. It's very fun. I wish the movie had a better distribution because it is not available anywhere outside of just YouTube, despite the fact that it was released in like 2009 on DVD or whatever, and I think in theaters maybe. It doesn't have that much substance to it. It's only like 70 something minutes, but it is just a fun time to have. And I gave it a 8 out of 10.
Then I decided to check out Eternity. This is a rom-com, which it's a genre that I have dabbled in across my life. However, this one piqued my interest and my partner's interest because I have thought quite a bit about the afterlife actually. And in this movie, people die. They go to like this quasi like train station, quasi like hotel kind of place, and they have 1 week to decide where they want to spend their eternity. Elizabeth Olsen's character runs into her two husbands in the afterlife, one of which died away at war, the other she actually had a life and family with. I think I got out of this a little more than some others might. There's a lot of elements of the plot which you can kind of predict, and fun fact, both my girlfriend and myself predicted two plot points in it. I think that says something. Even with that being said, the love triangle is still effective. The side characters are okay, they're fun. I prefer, personally, Davina Joy Randolph's character Anna and Olga Merediz' Karen. They're probably the more memorable ones. Other than that, the aesthetic and world building are really cool. And even though the story itself, you can kind of see a lot of it coming, I think it's still effective. We still spend a lot of time with the characters, and ultimately its message of not all love needs to last forever is, I think, a nice touch. It fits this world. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Then we watched The Nice Guys. This was my first time seeing it, and this was, I think, like your second. It was fine.
I saw it a few years ago. I saw it on Netflix back when it was on there. I liked it initially just because of Gosling, and that's still true.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling is, I guess, the best part of the movie.
I think with Project Hail Mary, he's kind of allowed to kind of go back to his comedic sides, but this was one of the only comedies I knew that he was allowed to kind of go full comedic in, and I think he pulls it off. I think Crowe and Gosling aren't like a terrible duo, but one certainly is more likable and less questionable than the other in terms of their casting.
You had mentioned, I think you somehow brought up John Goodman, and honestly, John Goodman would have been way better as Russell Crowe's character.
Yeah, because Crowe to me, like, I don't know, I don't really get like gentle, fatherly, paternal vibes from him. No. I don't. John Goodman is the type of actor that can get that, and you kind of need that in his character, to be honest. The story's okay. It's their dynamic duo that needs to work, and it's fine in this.
Yeah, the story itself, I mean, it's very predictable. It's like, it doesn't go into too many crazy places, I guess.
We've definitely seen worse child actors, but like I did like her a bit less this time around.
Yeah.
Margaret Qualley, I forgot she was in this.
Yeah, Margaret Qualley was in this, and she did good.
Going into the film, I was able to, like you said, to predict more of the plot, and the characters just didn't work as much. That's my main reasons.
Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 7.
Then I rewatched Boogie Nights. Kind of was thinking about this while watching The Nice Guys, and it had been a while since I've seen it, and it's still very good. It's the first big Paul Thomas Anderson movie. He made it when he was 26. It's a huge movie. He basically made a Martin Scorsese movie. It is also probably the best thing that Mark Wahlberg has ever been in, and Burt Reynolds. The story is super interesting. I love its use of music. The cinematography is great. A lot of great lighting, a lot of really good use of the camera. Like the flow of the movie is pretty good. Like it moves pretty fast despite being 2.5 hours. I would say it's mainly worth watching just for seeing a good Mark Wahlberg performance. It is also just a really solid story. I gave it a 8 out of 10. Then I saw The Big Sleep in one of my editing classes. It's a 1940s noir, and like most 40s noirs, it's pretty mediocre. It's a very run-of-the-mill noir of the time that's heavily bogged down by the Hays Code, so they couldn't really go into anything that fun or special. From what I was told about the source material, because this was based off a book, it is heavily censored from what the book was about, and which that kind of ruins it. And in terms of like the shot composition, like lighting, I don't know, they hadn't really found anything that great still in the 40s. They were still experimenting. I mean, after all, Citizen Kane invented storytelling. There are better noir movies of the time. This was just one of them that came out.
Yeah.
I gave it a 5 out of 10. Then I saw The Revenant in theaters for the 10th anniversary screening. I had never seen The Revenant before, and it had always been kind of on my list because I had heard good things about it, and it is good. It reminded me heavily of Castaway, though, where a lot of the movie is just Leonardo DiCaprio suffering in silence. To be fair, he goes through a lot of abuse in the movie. And he's able to get himself back up like every time, despite how like much he's been beaten. I don't really care for any of the characters though.
Remember back when it came out, people were always saying like, "Oh, don't eat before you watch it."
I wouldn't say
Stuff
that.
like that.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that was just. I always thought that was a little exaggerated.
Tom Hardy isn't really that special. Like he's kind of the enemy of Leonardo DiCaprio, but he doesn't really like have that good of a reason besides just he's dead. He's gonna slow down our troop. So let's just abandon him. I will say the best scene of the movie is when Leonardo DiCaprio gets attacked by a bear, which is sadly in the first 20 minutes of the movie. The rest of it is kind of a drag. This is a long movie. You can feel the length, and it gets boring after a while. It's very repetitive. In terms of Alejandro Iñárritu's other works, I've only ever seen Birdman. I do really like Birdman. I've been trying to get around to watch his other movies like Amores Perros, 21 Grams, Beautiful, and all that. Haven't quite got there yet. I gave it a nice 7 out of 10. Then I watched Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure. I am 22, by the way. It has terrible acting. It has very good animation. I love the hand-drawn look of it. And it's essentially Toy Story before Toy Story. That's all I have to say about it. 4 out of 10. Then we watched Noroi the Curse. I love this movie.
Yeah, you were very excited for me to see this.
It did go down a little bit for me, but it's still a very good found footage movie. In fact, I would say it's probably my favorite found footage movie.
I wouldn't say it's mine, but it certainly is up there. I mean, the documentary style really works for what this movie's going for. I really love the blending of like the commercials early on and just how the story of just everything unfolds. I joked when we watched it like the main character was pretty bland, like a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't need to be anything more than he was, and the side characters are very memorable, especially the tinfoil hat guy.
The worms.
Yeah, the worms. Oh my gosh, it was great. There's not really much for me to really find issue with.
There's some bad CGI of like just towards the end.
I feel like if I saw it in a theater, I would have been a little more shook by a couple scenes because I watched
fair,
it during the day.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I did see it in a theater when I watched it, so I obviously felt difference watching it.
Yeah, I am very much affected by time of day when it comes to horror.
Fair.
And I think I definitely would be more scared if I saw it like at night or in a theater or something, somewhere just closed off.
Yeah.
But it's still really good, and there's just so much going on underneath the hood, but they all pull it off with. Is that I think what people don't understand about like found footage and like mockumentary style filmmaking is like. It's so meticulous. It isn't just point and shoot, and this film really does build tension with the style so well, and that is something that not all of them can do.
Yeah.
So I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10, I think.
Yep, I also gave it a 9 out of 10. Also this month was the Oscars, which we didn't watch, but it was one of the most boring Oscars, to be honest. The only two things that were going to win were either Sinners or One Battle After Another.
And it was Sinners. Or sorry, it was One Battle.
But Michael B. Jordan did win Best Actor, and I would say he did deserve it. I do think Sinners should have won Best Visual Effects, because I think it is still very impressive how they were able to replicate the two actors seamlessly throughout that movie. As much as I don't really love Sinners or One Battle After Another as much as other people do, so I didn't really have that much of a big opinion about it. I guess One Battle After Another is the more seamless choice. Guess I can't really imagine Sinners winning as much.
If Sinners won, like after kind of thinking more about it and like talking with some more people about it, I see a lot more in it than I did when I first saw it. I think a lot of it is just because when it comes to the inclusion of the vampires in the story, because initially when I first saw it, I was like the vampires and the struggle of like the twins were kind of like disconnected. Like there was kind of like two different kind of plots happening. But and oh my god, when I heard it, my mind just it all connected. But just like when you think of the themes of assimilation and cultural homogeneity, like black culture is and marginalized people in general to like adapt and like look more white, you know, like and with the vampires, like at least the first few all being white. just
Yeah.
like, once you notice it, it's like you really start to see the dots connect, particularly with the clan ending. They really are connected, and on my first viewing, I didn't see that. But now that I do, I appreciate it a lot more. One battle, like, I liked it. It was fun. I don't have any issues with it winning either. This Oscars was overall kind of predictable.
Yeah, it was very predictable.
We were saying them as they were coming in.
I guess the only one that kind of caught us off guard was Amy Madigan winning in Weapons. That's fucking crazy. Watch our video on Weapons. Well, we watched the whole movie together, and then we mainly talked about that last third, that third is what kind of breaks the movie for us. Like, I do really like Weapons, but Amy Madigan isn't that great in it, and neither is her character.
Competition, I mean, I haven't seen Sentimental Value.
Me either.
However, I'm willing to bet that their characters, especially Elle Fanning and Inga Itzbote Elias, and then Wunmi Osaku from Sinners, like, alongside, like, her history, like, the character was more out there. Like, she had a look, and she had, like, a thing going, which I think helped, but I don't know, it was just too much. It was just so out, like,
yeah,
just so out there in the worst way.
K-Pop Demon Hunter won Best Animated Feature. It won Best Music for Golden over I Lied to You from Sinners.
I guess, bro. I guess.
Sure, whatever.
I hate it when you're at award shows and you're just like, of course they would get it. To me, it's just like, I think when it came to especially Brendan Fraser, at I believe the 2022 Oscars.
Oh, for The Whale.
That was something I was hoping to see.
Yeah.
And you could say that I predicted that, but I like seeing that because he deserved it. But that being said, Conan was fun.
Conan is one of the better hosts in the modern era of the Oscars. He actually makes the Oscars worth watching. He's actually entertaining compared to fucking Jimmy Kimmel, who I want to stab his eyes out whenever I see him on my screen. Oh, Mario Supreme didn't win anything. That sucks. That was my favorite movie of 2025. I knew Timothée Chalamet wasn't going to win. I knew for a fact Michael B. Jordan was winning. I wanted it to win something. I know some people were kind of upset about Sean Penn winning when he wasn't even there, especially over Deloy Lindo. Honestly, that's like the best part of One Battle After Another is Sean Penn's character, so I think he deserved that win. Yeah, it was a very average Oscars. F1 won Best Sound. That's fucking offensive. It should because it's allowed. Cars go vroom. I remember when Ford v Ferrari won for the same reason.
Do we want to rate the Oscars?
No, I just wanted to kind of talk about it.
Yeah, it was a fine out of 10.
It was a fine out of 10. Then I watched Hunger. This was the directorial debut for Steve McQueen, who went on to make 12 Years a Slave and Shame. I did like aspects of Hunger. The best part of this movie is definitely the one take. It is a 17-minute long one take of two people talking in a prison.
Christ.
And it is amazing. It is the best scene of the entire movie. The rest of it, take it or leave it. It's fine. It's about a protest in Ireland, a hunger strike. There's like a no wash protest. Otherwise, yeah, I didn't get a whole lot out of it. It was just that one scene that really stuck with me. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Then I watched The Hunt. The Hunt is a very good movie by Thomas Vinterberg, who I hadn't really seen anything else from him. Mads Mikkelsen is amazing in it. It's a very sad movie. It's about a teacher who takes care of these kindergarten students, and one of the students develops a crush on the teacher, and obviously the teacher turns the kid down. But the kid makes an allegation that he sexually abused her, and then the claim spreads around the town, and he's like basically ostracized for it, despite it being a lie. He gives a really, really good performance, and you could feel the tension within the town. All the performances are great. The music is great. Not that long either. It's only 2 hours and it goes by really fast. All the characters are logical in something like this. I mean, the idea of the story is, I think, something that should be explored a lot more in film. The way this film does it is, it's just very good. I really need to check out more of Thomas Vinterberg's work. I gave this a 9 out of 10. Then we watched the first 20 minutes of Climax.
Yeah, because this and RRR, we just couldn't find a version with subtitles that were in sync with the movie.
We saw the first, opening scene where they're dancing, and that was that was a good scene. The subtitles just didn't sync up very well. None of us rated it. In the replacement, though, we watched Marmaduke.
Fuck you for that.
This is a movie that I remember seeing in theaters when it came out back in 2010.
Yep.
When I was a dumb little kid, I used to like this movie. Now that I am an adult who is nearing their deathbed, probably, this does not do anything for my cold, dead heart. It is awful. It is terrible. It's
Marmaduke.
It's Marmaduke. It's so bad. The writing feels like it's written by AI. The way it like overly describes everything. Thing is terrible. Owen Wilson gets obnoxious.
Emma Stone tried
in one of her first movies ever. The music is bad. The choice of music is bad in this. They play the most cliche songs in movies ever.
Everything you'd expect to be here is there.
Yep. There's the dance at the end. Is that a spoiler? I don't give a fuck.
But you know what annoys me the most?
What?
All the fucking times they mention California.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I guess they assumed that everyone in the audience had the attention span of a fucking 1-year-old. They just have to keep mentioning that they're in California. And it gets so annoying. 1 out of 10. Then I watched Less Than Zero. This is kind of a disappointing movie. This is based on a book by Bret Easton Ellis, who also made American Psycho and has also made a bunch of other interesting books. The thing about this is 20th Century Fox decided to make an adaptation of Less Than Zero without using the actual book. The movie is very sanitized compared to that. It has a decent early performance from Robert Downey Jr. There's really nothing else to say about this movie. It's a very, very sanitized adaptation of a Bret Easton Ellis novel. 5 out of 10. Then we watched the first 30 minutes of RRR.
And I was recommended this by a friend of mine, and once again, I was lied to.
And the final thing we watched this month was Candyman. I like this movie. I have seen it a couple times prior to this. This was your first time.
I mean, I've always heard it was good, and guess what? It is. I know the sequels are very different, but this one's slow-paced, like crime mystery, kind of psychological thriller. Like it's a slow burn, and yeah, Virginia Madsen. Like I know Tony Todd is what people remember this movie for, but she is just as good.
Yeah.
The way just like as she dives deeper into this mystery about Candyman and just like his urban legend, like seeing her deteriorate and lose everything is really sad, but it's really effective.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I knew about this movie coming in was Tony Todd, the bees, the amount of money he was paid because of said bees, and his past. It's a ride, and the effects are great. The music's amazing. What'd you say, guys? Philip Glass, excellent. I
put out a hell of a score.
Mm-hmm. The use of choir was peak. I also love the communal aspects in the southern Chicago. I love how like that's like an important part of the movie. It isn't really too present until like the latter the third act when they're burning.
Yeah.
They're burning it, and then they're at the funeral. But it's still felt because it's an airtight community, and it's an urban legend that has festered and taken a lot from them, and they give the time to that. And on that note, like the set design is really, really good.
I think it's a very underrated horror movie, and yeah, it feels less of a slasher and more like a psychological thriller crime movie. And I really like that aspect of it.
Rest in peace, Tony Todd, though.
Tony Todd is great in this movie. He's amazing. I love his voice. He has the perfect voice to do ASMR. I wish he was still around to just do that.
8 out of 10 for me.
8 out of 10. And that is what we watched for the month of March 2026.
I'll try to see more since my short film is wrapped. Yay!
Next month is April. It'll be another round of movies we watch. Hey, the Michael movie comes out in April. That's going to be, there's probably going to be a big old review for that when I watch that, because I'm sure there's going to be things I have to say about it.
Words, you said expect a your movie sucks type review.
Other stuff is coming. I know Minecraft's been on a bit of a delay, but it'll be back soon, I promise. Don't go away. There's also going to be some other movie talk videos. We've talked about doing one about favorite films from every year we've been alive, because we've been alive for a long time. So that will happen soon, I promise. We are still alive for now. All right.
For the time being, no promises.
Bye-bye.